Hello, welcome to the channel and thanks for joining me. Today we're going to take a look at this Sanyo 9805L from the 1980s and we're going to give it a bit of a service, a bit of a switch clean. We'll service the cassette mechanism, put some new belts on, all that kind of stuff. Now, normally I'll start with an overview and a précis of the actual unit and test its functionality and all that kind of thing. Now, I actually got this yesterday and I recorded the unboxing video and the appraisal, which turned out to be quite a short one, to be honest, because it didn't work at all. And essentially when I plugged it in at the mains, it was totally dead. No radio, no cassette or anything. Now, there isn't a DC input to try on this particular unit, but it does take batteries, of course. So I put the batteries in and again, absolutely dead, nothing at all. So there's a definite power supply issue there. So I opened up the back case and I've already made a start actually, so I'm bringing you part way in because I've taken the screws out of the back case. I opened it up to have a look and essentially went on to diagnose and fix the problem with the power, and unfortunately lost all the footage, so couldn't share that with you. But what I'll do is I'll just bring you in a bit closer, take a look at what I actually did, how I got it up and running, and then we'll go ahead and carry on to service the mech and actually finish it off. I wouldn't say as good as new, but as good as we can get it. So stay tuned and let's have a look at this power supply. So as I say, it was totally dead, and what I've done is taken the tuner knob off just there and the tone and volume knobs as well, plus also the switch tips. Very simple unit, this one, only a master switch with radio and tape and your 3-band radio, FM, medium wave and long wave just there. So I've taken all the switch tips off and kept them safe in a little pot in there with the screws. And once you've done that, basically you press eject just to clear the mechanism. Oh, incidentally, I think it's been dropped as well because there was a power supply issue, and also I noticed that the casing wasn't fitting terribly well, wasn't snapped in properly, and there also is some damage as well, which wasn't immediately obvious, but essentially there's a crack along there in the plastic, so we'll need to look at that as well. But anyways, we'll just go ahead and pop the faceplate off like so, and I'm just going to peel that back, and I've put some foam. You won't see it necessarily right now, but I've put some foam just to the side just to support the faceplate, because we've got a couple of multi-plugs just here which are for the speakers and the condenser microphones, and obviously when I was working on it to see whether or not it was working or not, I wanted to just hear any audio that was coming through, so I wanted to leave everything else hooked up. So this allowed me to there we go, this allowed me to just kind of have it all open like a book, and then we can see what we're up against. But anyway, the main issue, as I say, there was no power at all. So this is the bit where I give you a bit of a caveat. We would have been working on mains voltage here, so obviously only by trained professionals, qualified, etc, etc. This is for entertainment only and all those usual caveats that you get. But basically, yeah, we're working on mains voltage here. Obviously nothing's plugged in now, hasn't been plugged in even since yesterday when I repaired this, so it's perfectly safe for me to demonstrate and show you now. But essentially 3 screws holding this little protective insulating cover on this card, and then that allowed us to get to the power supply board just here. So what I'll do is I'll just bring you in for a slightly closer shot of the power supply board and show you exactly how we sorted out the power issue with this. So here's a slightly closer look at the power supply issue then. So here's the transformer on this board here. So we've got the AC in. So here's your main power cord would go into here, and that essentially goes into the transformer, and you've got your primary winding, and then that reduces it down to more or less the correct voltage here on your secondary winding, and then that gets rectified into a smoother current here via these diodes and the caps just on the side. And then you've got a few cables just coming off your power supply to the board itself, which is then sort of ready to use as your DC voltage. Now, I couldn't find any real issues with the transformer. The windings were okay, there was continuity there, and the voltages going in and out were all fine. The diodes checked out okay, as did the caps. But I noticed that there was an intermittent issue. It managed to spring to life randomly. So just using a wooden sort of cocktail stick, just giving things a gentle nudge, very occasionally I could get it to work, but it was very intermittent to say the least. So first stage was just to reflow all of the joints. They seemed to be okay, but I reflowed them anyway just in case there was a dry one in there. And then that didn't work, but I noticed that one of the connecting cables had actually come slightly fractured, and it was only held on by 1 or 2 strands of wire. So I cut that back and resoldered that on, and then it did work, and then it didn't work. It's very intermittent. So I had a look then. The next stage was just for me to inject some voltage directly in, and this is a 9-volt unit, so essentially what I did is I just put the 9 volts directly onto the board like so, and you could see it was working. So I knew that, I'll just take that back off, I could tell that actually everything sort of this side of the board is okay, and the unit itself will be alright, with just an issue here. So then, given that the cable connections and the continuity was traced to various places to make sure that there was nothing obvious, no broken cables or fractures or anything like that, kind of tracing it back and back and back, I noticed that there was a fracture in one of the traces where one of the diodes was mounted. So I bridged that, and it worked to a degree, but every time I went to screw it back in, it was actually cutting out again. So that was weird. So then I put a jumper cable in just for belt and braces, and that didn't repair the issue. So had another closer look at the board and found a second mounting trace that had cracked. Basically it's where one of the capacitors was mounted and it fractured on its trace. So I basically scraped that back there and bridged that with a new piece of wire across there, and it's all nice and solid now. Everything's been flowed through and it's nice and solid, and I'm hoping what I might do actually now is just plug it back in just for the demonstration now, just to show you what's happening. Hopefully it will work. Now clearly it's unplugged at the moment, and I'll now switch it on, and there's the power. So we know we're good to go. I'm happy with that now, so let's get that safely turned back off and we can carry on servicing it. There we go. So I can unplug that now, and I'll go ahead now and discharge any capacitors and just stay away clear of all of this high voltage stuff for a minute. And in fact we'll be able to get this insulating plate back on at some point, screw that back down, and that'll be kind of out of harm's way. But really what I wanted to do today was just clean the switches, clean the pots, and indeed just clean the mech. And we'll get this out actually. If we get the mech out we can service it properly, so I think that might be the next stage to do. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, well I've just put the transformer back into its mounting position, screwed that in tightly with the cover plate back on, so that's nice and safe now. But yeah, I think it has been dropped because the fracture was at the AC mounting point, and also, as I say, there's a cracked piece on the top of the plastic, so it may well have been knocked over or fallen off of something whilst it was plugged in. That might have what's caused the damage. Anyway, let's get on with this then. I'm just going to check the tape actually works first, so I'm going to put some DC voltage just back into here a minute, and we'll select tape and press. Alright, good. So rewind, fast forward and play are working. I can see the belt's just down there actually, but it looks a bit shonky to say the least. It's flapping about a bit. In fact, we could put tape in, I suppose. Whether that will help you guys, I don't know, because last time I tried to put a cassette into here to test it, not into here, but into a previous one. Yeah, I got copyright match and all that sort of stuff just for a few seconds, literally like 3 seconds or something. So this may work, it may not. Yeah, well, good luck trying to get that on a content match. And okay, yeah, all right. So the belts are working to a degree, or at least the mech's working. Just having a look at it now. Play. Okay. Yeah. Alright, so it's got partial drive and the amp's working, but we can also tell that the volume pot is really dirty as well, so we'll clean all the pots when the time comes as well. But anyway, here we go then. Let's get this mech out and give it a bit of a service. So it looks like there may only be 3 screws here. Just 1, 2 and possibly this mounting one here by the motor. Might need to get the dial gauge off via that screw, but we'll cross that bridge in a minute. And we'll just keep an eye on what the screws are. Just in case they're different sizes. Dropping them all there, trying to keep the screwdriver away from the microphone, but anyway, not to worry, we'll get that in a minute. Right, let's have a look. Right, this could be more tricky than it first appears. Yeah, so the head cables wrap around the post, so I need to get that out. So we'll just move that safely to one side. Now we can see what we're up against. Okay, so we've also got 2 retaining screws just here as well. So they'll probably need to come out. Then it's a case of figuring out where the cables are going. There's a lot of cable ties here, which is nice and tidy. But the problem with that is that some things are soldered onto the board there. We want to try and pick those loose if we can, just to try and get the mech out, because only certain cables here are going to relate to the actual mech. So it'd be nice if we can get everything else out of the way. Okay, and these cable ties have actually literally been tied as well. They've literally been tied in knots. So we have to snip those. So I'm just having a quick look just to see what needs to come away. And take a photo at this stage if you're not sure of where the cables go, just to help you later. But I'm just going to pick some of these away now. I'll say it could be a bit tricky this, because yeah, we've got a lot of cables here that are actually soldered onto the board, and that could be a little bit annoying if I'm honest, if you've got to desolder like 10 cables just to get the mech clearance to get to the belts, but we'll see. Right, okay. Well, that one's just an earth strap, so that's okay. Right, what have we got? Okay, here we go. This will be fun. How do we do this? How do we do this? Where does that purple one go? Okay. Let's try and turn it that way. There we go. Nice. Alright, that's not in frame for you, but I'll just have a quick reshuffle and be back in a second. So here's a close-up of the mech then. It's super easy. Just a 1 belt operation. And if I just hold the motor spindle, or the motor pulley, and rotate the flywheel, you can see that that's spinning quite freely. And that's just slipping. It's just marginal on size. So it kind of like if I just turn one, you'll see them turning. And that's why there's partial drive. But actually if I start as soon as I start resisting one or other, the others will spin, and that's a sure sign obviously that it's marginal on grip and that it needs replacing. So we'll do that in a second. Also, I'm just gonna clean this dirt and dust out, and some of this grease. I think I'm just gonna, it's all over my fingers, so you can see it's not too hard, but I'm just gonna get a bit of alcohol, clean that up, and maybe put a dab more fresh little grease on that just while we're in here. So first thing, let's just get in there and give this a bit of a clean. I mean, there's some of it. It doesn't bear thinking about, to be honest, what some of this nasty yuckiness is. But I'm anyway going to carry on and just clean some of this up. And once I come back, it should be nice and fresh, and we can have a look at replacing the belt. Okay, I've given everything a bit of a clean. Got the old grease off, put a bit of fresh grease on there as well. So let's take a look at this belt then. So we'll just remove this screw on the back plate. I want to see if I can actually just remove this screw. Oh, it's really not very nice. This is what you start to find though on these units of a certain age. I'm just going to try an even different screwdriver attachment. Everything's very flimsy. Oops, there she blows. Yeah, very flimsy these. Not the best not the best quality at all. It's very much like the JVC RC sort of 660s and 770s and stuff like that. Just, yeah, by this time they were kind of using these mostly plastic and composite flywheels, plastic pulleys. Just not very nice, to be honest with you. But anyway, listen, we got that off, so just unscrewed that, gave us enough clearance to slip the old belt off, and you can see it's a pretty big belt, to be fair, but it is the only one. Bit of a teardrop shape, more like a guitar pick. So I'm going to go and see if I can find another one the right size. And yeah, there we go. We'll see if we can get that on, get it back together, flip it over, clean the other side, check the idlers, clean the heads, and then we'll get it back in, give the case a clean, repair that crack in the case, and we should be in business. Okay, well, I found a belt, so hopefully we'll get this on. As I say, you're going to sneak it under the, there we go, under there, and on. Yeah, that feels about right. So I'm going to screw this down and we'll give it a whirl. Okay, so now the belt's on and we're happy with it. I'm just going to put some power back on the board. Again, just low voltage here, just the 9 volts directly onto the board. And we should be able to test the tape. Let's have a look. Yeah, that seems to be working all right. So what I'm just going to do is very gingerly turn this over. Zoom out a little bit so we can see what's going on, and I'll put a tape back in. Right, apologies if this ends up getting muted or put some sort of music over the top, but I might get a copyright match otherwise. Let's see what happens. There we go. Just trying to suspend it off the actual unit. But yeah, it's fast forwarding. and rewinding beautifully, and play. Yeah, that's working really nicely. So I'm happy with that. I'm just going to try a couple more, and also I'll just check the speed, because I can adjust the motor from this little screw just there. And once I'm happy with that, it will just clean the heads, clean the pinch roller. It looks all right, to be fair, but we'll give it a bit of a cursory going over, get it back in and clean the switches. Okay, it's time to just give the heads a clean a moment. To be honest, they look very clean anyway, not too bad at all. But we'll give them a cursory going over. Yeah, I'm also going to clean the capstan and the pinch roller. Now I can see that this capstan is really quite, there you go, fair bit of ferrite on that. So I'm going to clean that all up, get it squeaky clean. Should be done periodically. I'm guessing this never has been done before on this unit. You can probably see, if I bring that into the camera a little bit, you can see some of the ferrite that's come off of that already. So I'm just going to carry on cleaning that. Also do the same for the pinch roller as well. And yeah, there we go. Right, I'll carry on doing that. Back in a moment. Okay, we've given everything a bit of a clean and a re-grease, and just time now, I think, to put it all back together again. So just going to get rid of this power supply. Incidentally, see the record bar there, look? Brilliant little linkage, just goes over and activates the slider switch on the other side. In fact, I'll give that a quick clean while I'm at it. It won't have been used in quite some time, so always worth doing. I'll also go ahead and just do the volume pots and the switches as well, but I'll do that with a little bit of alcohol. Alright, let's get this back in. Okay, so that's everything put back where it needs to be. All the screws are in place, the dial face is back on. I'm just going to clip the cables back together at this end, and then we'll take a look, I think, at the broken case and get it back together. This is why it's always important as well to make sure you put everything back exactly how you took it apart. I'm just going to bring this across here. So I'm just tidying up the cable ties and realised that one of the wires wasn't actually screwed back through. This particular one, if I can get it in there, actually has the earthing point. I'd overlooked that particular one, so I'm going to struggle probably off camera to get that one down in there. There we go. Like I say, if you put everything back neat and tidy, if you have missed anything, it will come to light, so it's always worth doing a nice tidy proper job. As I say, it's exactly how it came apart now. Marvellous. Okay, we've pretty much done what we need to do now. We've repaired the power supply, we've serviced the mech, we've cleaned the switches internally. All that remains really is to repair the casing. So now that we've finished doing the electronic side, we can finally do away with the multi-plugs here and lose the part we've been working on. So I'll put that safely to one side, and then we can bring in the broken part. So as you can see, basically, I don't know if you can see that terribly well, but yeah, here you go. There's a broken piece of plastic there, and you may see it if I can bring it in on the inside. There we go. Sorry, really bad camera work, but you can see it's had a bit of a knock there. So I'm just going to try, hopefully it's a clean break. I'm hoping to just get some super glue in there and see if I can snap it back into place. I'm quite lucky that there's quite a lot of detail around here, and it's happened sort of inside the extremity of the rebate. So I'm hoping I can glue that, snap that back into place, and hopefully that'll fix it. So I'm going to drop some super glue in and around there, and I expect I'll end up with more of it over my fingers than anything else, but let's see how we get on. Okay, alright, well that seemed pretty good. I'm going to be careful because obviously I don't want to get it all over the face, so I've got to be careful in case there's any glue on my fingertips. But actually really isn't too bad at all. I think I can live with that, you know. I really do think I can live with that. So I'm just going to brush a bit more glue just around the edge, just to hold it. Apologies if it's not really in view for you guys. There we go. Marvellous. Well, I'll just let that cure for a little while. What we'll do is we'll polish the inside of the tuner window as well in a minute, give it a general wipe over. I can see that the cassette door ejector mechanism is really super clean and smooth, so there's no need to adjust that at all. There's no need to lubricate any of the mechanism. You could do it at this stage if you were having trouble with it, but this one's absolutely fine. So as I say, just clean the inside of the tuner window in a minute, but I'll let that glue go off first. And it's not perfect, I'm sure, but it's an awful lot better than it was, so happy days. Okay, so the glue's dried now. All that remains is to marry the two parts back together again. So we get the multi-plugs back in for the condenser mics and the speakers, and then gently overlay. Incidentally, I have just polished the tuner glass. Basically line this up. Like so, and we just make sure that the ejector mechanism works before we screw it all back together properly, and that the tuner system works. That needle's back okay. I have polished the glass as well just now. Right, good, okay, so now I can turn it over carefully, and I'll just zoom out a bit because you didn't actually see the unscrewing, because I'd already started it before we came in at the beginning of the video. That basically there are chassis screws there. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, one in the middle, plus a shorter one inside the battery compartment. So I'll get those in a second. Also, I'll polish up the aerial. The handle has got kind of grime and nastiness on it. All these little grooves and details here are all dirty. Everything just needs a good clean, a deep clean and a polish. So as I say, I'm just going to go ahead now, get these 6 screws in, give it a deep clean and a polish, put the knobs back on, and I'll be back with a final reveal. Hopefully it'll work nicely. So here it is then, the Sanyo 9805L. It wasn't without its problems. It came in with no power whatsoever from the batteries or indeed the mains power in, and it was broken on the top, so there was chassis damage, and the tape was slipping once we finally got it sorted. So what do we do? Well, basically fix the power transformer end with some broken traces there that needed to be repaired. So we've got power back to the unit, clean all the switches and the knobs inside, and also service the cassette mech. So we degreased, got all the sort of fluff and dirt out, give it a good clean the heads, clean the capstan, the pinch roller, put a new belt on, various other bits and pieces, got it running beautifully. And yeah, she's all back together. The chassis has been repaired and she's been given a really deep clean and polish. I mean, this thing was covered in nicotine stains. It had like greeny yellow grime all over it, and yes, I did have to put a cocktail stick through every one of those grooves on the top to help clean the grime and the grease out of that as well. But anyway, I think well worth it in the end. So let's give it a quick go. I'll try the radio first. I'll just turn the lights off real quick because they do interfere with the FM, so let's just give that a quick go a moment.
With the letter N.
Since you are, is when you announce you're leaving social media. Oh, educate and entertain. That's right. The BBC puts out some of the finest content.
Good stuff. So the radio's working nicely. So I've just switched it over to tape and put the lights back on. And by the way, the eject door, lovely, good spring on that, fantastic. So let's go for it. Press play. And fast forward. Rewind. Stop. Eject. So there we go, that's working a treat now. The tone works well, it's got plenty of volume, it's not even on half there. And yeah, very nice, all the switches are positive, there's no crackle, there's no buzz, it's all solid, beautifully clean. I've polished the aerial as well. All happy days. So I think she's good to go. So thanks very much indeed for watching. Hope you enjoyed it or at least found it useful. Please do consider subscribing if not already. I've got a whole bunch of retro audio and games and stuff on the channel, so do please check that out if you haven't already. Also consider stopping by my Buy Me a Coffee page and donating towards belts and consumables and stuff. Always massively appreciated. In the meantime, stay safe. Thanks very much for watching. I'll see you soon. Bye bye for now. Very dodgy wiring, let's say, on the connectors to the... That was shit. Why don't we start that again?